Welcome to a two-part series, first of which I'm going to show you four. I've narrowed it down to four of the rarest gaming items in this massive collection. My dog's just walked in, she's that excited. So we're going to start with something that is incredibly special to me, and I think it will be incredibly special to you. Check this out. Back in January of 2016, I had the pleasure of interviewing Masayuki Uemura, the lead architect and designer of the Nintendo Entertainment System. It was at the very end of that interview that I managed to ask him to sign my NES console and the two controllers that came bundled in. You can see the footage here. The entire interview was recorded and it's linked on my YouTube channel, and it's also linked in a blog that I'm going to be posting, which will take you directly to the video on my website. He was such a lovely guy, and it was so unfortunate when we heard about his tragic loss not so long ago. It was a phenomenal experience and I will treasure this piece forever. I actually gave one of the controllers to my brother, as he was a huge Nintendo fan as a kid and still is. Now, I remember this night fondly, and you might be asking, how did I get this opportunity? Well, this interview was actually in the National Video Game Arcade when it was based in Nottingham, and they actually reached out to me and asked if I wanted to interview Masayuki Uemura-san alongside Retro Gamer magazine. We actually had the entire article printed. I forgot what issue it was in, but I'm sure if you're a Retro Gamer magazine fan, you'll probably know. Again, this is one of the most prized pieces. You can see the other controller that I've still got here, and I reached out to my brother. You've already seen his picture. He still has his controller. How much is this worth? Well, it's absolutely priceless in my opinion, but there's not another console on planet Earth like this. This is one of however many Nintendo Entertainment Systems in the world. Is it for sale? No way. I'll never sell anything from my collection. Let me know what you think. So the signed NES from Masayuki Uemura that I got done after the interview, the Retro Gamer interview, back I believe in 2014. If you'd like to see that full interview, I will link the direct link to the article on my website. You will see the full interview there. I'm going to show you something else cool now. This is a Sega Mega Jet. The Sega Mega Jet was used exclusively in Japan on airlines and was somehow embedded into the armrest of the plane seat, with the TV being the back of the seat. You were able to play the Mega Jet on that screen. Now, customers could either bring their own cartridges, or they could play one of 4 games that were available, including Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco GP and the original Sonic the Hedgehog. To buy one today, they go for a pretty penny, well over £200, and in the region of £500 upwards for a boxed model. I made this video a couple of years ago to show you it in use, and you simply plug it in using a standard Sega Mega Drive AV power cord and then plug it into the TV. Essentially what the Sega Mega Jet does is it actually enables you to use it as a bit of a controller. You can see it in action here. I didn't know at the time of this exact moment in this video that it actually plays PAL games as well as Japanese, which was a really nice surprise given that, of course, I can't speak or read Japanese. But these are very, very sought after, and there are 3 models in total. The model I have is the most common, as it was the consumer release. Now you can see me just there, you hold it, you simply kind of put in a PAL game, and this was the moment that I realised that you could actually play PAL games on it. It was a really nice moment, and I'm super grateful to Reese, my friend, a long-time subscriber as well to the channel, for sending this along and surprising me back in the day. So this is the Sega Mega Jet. So that was the Sega Mega Jet. Again, thank you to Reese for sending that out a few years ago. That boy has seriously bolstered my collection with snatcher copies and all kinds of good things. If you were eagle-eyed, you would have seen a short that I put out within the last couple of weeks that showed you the rarest original release Game Boy game on planet Earth. Check out Spuds Adventure. This is Spuds Adventure. It's the rarest Game Boy game ever. Why? It's produced in very low numbers because the game unfortunately flopped, so there's not many copies floating about. Whilst my box of this game is a repro, the cart itself is a genuine cartridge, and you'll never believe how I came across it. A few years back, Jess and I purchased a huge box of games for £150. It was full of so much random stuff. This happened to be in it, and it was a subscriber of mine that pointed out the high value of this. I will link a short if you want more information on what this actually goes for online. I think it'll make your eyes water. Check it out. This is Spuds Adventure. The next one was actually a tussle between two. I was going to show you this, but I've spoke about this at great length. It's one of the rarest Super Nintendo games ever released, and it's very hard to get, and it can cost up to £10,000 in immaculate condition. But I thought I'd take a step back because I've not spoken about the Blockbuster video game cart for quite some time. This is my Starwing competition cartridge. Blockbuster and Virgin Megastore had these back in 1993 before Starwing even came out. Now I just want to put this out there that there was somebody on Facebook that said this was fake. I took it apart and here it is. You can actually see that it says on the chip itself, Mario chip. That was codename for the Super FX chip, and you can see that the date on the board is 1992, which is well before Starwing actually came out. But back to the actual game itself. This was me playing it a couple of years ago, and you'll notice in the top right corner it says the time, 3 minutes and 40 odd seconds, and you've got your score in the top left. The aim of this was to get the highest score in the given time. There were only 3 levels, so if you were one of those fortunate, amazing people to complete all 3 levels within the given time slot, then more power to you. You'll see my time in this, and rather you'll see my score in this, but it looks really cool. At the end you've got all your kind of synopsis, your bomb bonus, your shield bonus, and your total score before diving into the second stage. This was a fantastic stage, and again you've got your score in the top left and your remaining time in the top right. Just as you finish the game, or rather the time runs out, you're greeted with this screen, which of course isn't in the final game, and then following that you actually get your final score. Now I found a really good source online which interviews a chap that competed in this. His name is Ross Willett. Let's take a look and see what Ross actually had to say about this competition back in 1993. So shout out to retrodetect.com for showing this interview, and at the end you will see a copy of the certificates that Ross and his brother were given. So it turns out that this wasn't very well advertised, it would seem. They played this competition in a Virgin Megastore in Aberdeen. I think, again, it just excites me so much. As you read the interview, you really get a flavour for what it was like back then. It was really cool. They said that they'd never played the game before. You were not allowed to practice. You were literally lunged straight in to this game. Now I remember this in our local Blockbuster, but there was also a Donkey Kong Country one. We played the Donkey Kong Country competition. I didn't play the Starwing competition, but Ross and his brother did, and they still have their original certificates, albeit very faded. You can actually just make out the scores there, and I'm pleased to say that my score in my playthrough was slightly higher, but let's face it, I've had lots of practice over the years. At the time of making this video, there were none of these cartridges available on eBay. I've only ever seen 2 in person, and that was mine, and there was another one in, I think it was 2017, at the Doncaster Retro Gaming Market, which I'm going to on the 5th of February, by the way. I will see you there. But anyway, back to my original point, these are quite rare and very, very difficult to get a hold of. I paid £200 for this, which tends to be the going rate, but I would advise that you take it apart before buying to make sure that it is legitimate. Thankfully, mine is. So that was part one. You've seen some of the rarest items in my collection. In Thursday's episode, I've got a bit more of a heartfelt episode for you because I'm going to show you some of the most sentimental pieces that I've acquired in the years that I've been collecting. So I hope that you guys can subscribe because you do not want to miss that. Some of the items I don't think I've shown before, so it's going to be an absolute banger. But please subscribe, please leave a like rating, and I will see you in Thursday's episode. I need a few seconds of your time to tell you about channel memberships. If you guys want to become a channel member, click join from the main page or the second link in the description. There are 3 tiers, all with different perks for you if you want to become a team member. Thanks for your time. Let's continue with the video.